Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time for a video which is going to go over a bunch of the news items of the last few days. Obviously yesterday we focused on the devlog and the leaks. Now it's time to have a look at the rest. Some Marut news, a new decal, actually a new set of decals which have been found in the Datamines, and also the return of a premium vehicle. Alright, let's get into it. As always, if you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe and also like it. Let's go. So the first piece of news, there is National Sailors Day in France, which means that we have a little decal event and also the return of the VLT2. The decal event is for the emblem of the Fusiliers Marines, and it's going from the 22nd of May until the 26th. All you have to do is play 3 battles using French naval vessels at rank 3 or higher. I used some of the coastal stuff, and it was okay. Not really liking the new aiming system, but c'est la vie. The VLT2, though, which was the pre-order vehicle for the French nation when it came to the coastal side of things, it is now back. So they removed it as a pack, and now they've brought it back as a GE vehicle. It's going to be 4,880 Golden Eagles, and it's not worth it, at least at full price. It has 240mm, which is nice. It has some torpedoes. It has no survivability. And as I said, with the new aiming system, if you play arcade like I do, these things die within basically a second. So it's really annoying. Also, there is some Marut news. So if you want to know how to see the Marut when it comes to the game, all you do is go to your account, your player profile, go to achievements, and then go to the Spirit of the Tempest. There is a preview button here, which you can click, and here it is. You can have a look at the HF-20 for yourself, which is pretty cool. You can have a look at its armaments, and you can see what it has access to, and you can even test drive it if you want in this little area. You can't take the armaments with it, but at least it's there, and then you can see the good old snap rockets which are inside. One of the things you may have noticed looking at the stat card, it's 9.0. So they've changed it from 7.7 to 9.0, so it's now in the buggy area, which is a little bit awkward. 9.0 is a tough BR for a vehicle just because of the supersonic nature of 9.3 and also a lot of the capabilities of 9.7s and 10.0s. So the Marut definitely has lost a lot of value being at 9.0. At 7.7 it would have been pretty good, but I can see this thing going to 8.7 just because it doesn't have any extra factors. It doesn't have the speed, it doesn't have air-to-air missiles, it doesn't have any thing for the pilot. So in my opinion, this vehicle should probably go down in BR. So it will be actually useful, because if you compare it to a lot of the other vehicles, apart from the Hunter, which is always notoriously over-tiered, the HF-24 is not in a great place. Another part is the Datamines. Basically, what they've done is not just the Marut changes, where they changed all of its BRs, they also did some economy changes, making it a little bit harder to research, since of course it is a higher BR vehicle nowadays. What they've also done is added a metric ton of decals to the game, which we don't know if you're going to be able to grind them out or if they're going to be in other areas, but these are Air Force roundels. There's also the PS Plus Decal, which is the retro-futuristic Air Force snail. So there's another snail that you can get. I really wish PC could get these ones, or everybody could get them, but c'est la vie. Looks like that's not going to happen. But for the Air Force roundels, we have Algeria, 1964. The Australian one for 1982. Brazil, 1918, Bulgaria, 1992. We also have the Dominican Republic, 1933, Ecuador, 1960, Egypt, 1972, Hungary, 1949, 251, and then also Italy, 1990 onwards, Malaysia, 1982, Nigeria, 1964, and then Romania, we have the 1912 to 1941 one, the 1944 to 47, and then also the 1985 one that's turned up. Then Thailand also has theirs in, the 1917 to 40, and then 1945 and onwards. For the USA, we have the 1942 to 43 one, and also the 1943 one. and Vietnam, the 1959 one. So overall, it looks like you have a bunch of different decals that are coming in when it comes to the Air Force roundels, and hopefully you'll be able to grind them out, or maybe this is links to specific events that are going to be coming up in the future, or it could just be replacing old ones that are already in the game and have been for a while. Whatever is happening, it's kind of cool that they're doing this. One of the things that they did more recently is they switched up the Chinese numbers that were in War Thunder, so therefore they were a different type. And when it comes to War Thunder, you know, the fact that there's a lot of like events going on all the time, it does mean that there's always something to do, which I've always liked the game about. But it also does mean that if you miss something, then of course it makes you feel pretty crap, which is the other unfortunate side of it. Luckily for me, I've been able to keep up with everything for a long time, but I know a lot of people who haven't been able to, and that isn't incredibly fun. So let's talk about something that is going to cause a bit of a craziness setup for that, right? Because when there's a bunch of events going on at the same time, you want them to kind of homogenize, so therefore you can do a lot of them at the same time. There's a problem in War Thunder now, and it's the Spirit of the Tempest event. This is the aircraft event, which has come in for the HF-24. It has 7 marks of distinction. They're all 35k. Generally, you know, it's not going to be too hard to grind. But at the same time, you now have the National Sailor Day in France for the decal. That's 3 battles at least you have to play for France and Naval that you have to do. Then, if you have a look at the challenges for the Battle Pass over the period of the HF-24 event, so you have Melee Mastery, which is a ground challenge. Basically, you have to only do that in ground battles. You then have Field Maintenance, which is help with repairing a firefighter. This one is going to be a pain. Once again, only in ground battles. And then you have the Coastal Defender, which is a naval one which exists, where you need to do damage to naval targets with coastal vehicles with 75mm of caliber. So you have these three challenges, which are going on, which none of them are in the air event. You also have a bunch of pages of histories, which are mainly ground focused, which are coming up, meaning that these, or at least the Sengalina is more ground focused, so that doesn't really fit into the air event. And then you have the F4 Phantom's First Flight, which does fit into the air event. So at least there's that at the end of the month. But it kind of shows you how if you have a bunch of stuff going on at the same time and they don't all match up, it can cause issues with kind of the game, because trying to do everything means that now in this you have to play multiple game modes, you have to play multiple things across the place, and you can't like homogenize them together, and it's going to be a lot harder to do. So people are going to have to put in way more hours in order to actually do all of the challenges in War Thunder, and also with the update season coming up too, there's going to be a lot of focus on that as well. Ton of interesting stuff going on, like stuff all over the place when it comes to War Thunder. It's pretty nuts how much is going on. So I'm going to be covering it all. If there's anything you specifically want to see, please let me know. And we'll be streaming every day, having a bit of fun with everything. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.